Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We are discussing our birth stories. This is part two. In the previous episode, we were discussing some of the things that we've gone through in our own birth stories. And total disclaimer, this could be triggering for some people. So definitely listen at your own discretion. If this is your first time and you're about to give birth, or first time mom looking to have more children, any of those things, please, please, please just use discretion when listening to this podcast episode. Um, if you haven't listened to it already, go back and listen to the previous episode. Crystal was just discussing with us her experience and all the things that she went through with her labor. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to that?
No, I don't think so. Like maybe I'll add something if I like think about it, but I think
Yeah.
that yeah, I think I got it all out there.
Good, good, good. Okay, so I will kind of go into my stories. I have three children. I had three successful pregnancies and labors, and I'm very grateful that that's my experience. My firstborn is now 14. So let's see if I can actually remember any details whatsoever.
Like that
So
was a long time ago, girl.
yeah, and I feel like I don't know if I feel like if I had children like at this age now, would I take it in differently? Because I remember being pregnant with my first, and I had a girlfriend at the time who was very much like, "Oh my God, like you have a little child, a little person inside of you." And it never really like connected in my brain that there was a human person growing in there. I knew like I know what it's like, you're having a baby, whatever, but like I wasn't like picturing this person. It was just like, I'm having a baby. I don't know if I was like completely disconnected from the idea of what it truly meant. Um, Ever since I was like 16, I knew that I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to have kids. So at 26, I finally was able to experience this. And so I I don't even know how to start it really because it's been so long. Oh my God. Okay. I know that the morning of, I was scheduled for an induction because he just wasn't coming. It was just like he was super comfy in there. I believe they had me deliver at like 40 weeks and 5 days, like that. I got to pick his birthday and everything. And in
That's
Corey's
kind
family,
of cool.
it was really cool because Corey's birthday is actually 3 days after my son's birthday. And a lot of like different family members on Corey's side are all like that week, that same week.
Okay.
So we got to pick a day just for him, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's awesome.
Um,
I do love that. I think that
yeah,
is one weird thing is that like so many people were like, you're gonna go late, you're gonna go late, it's your first, it's gonna be forever.
yeah,
And I didn't even make it to 40 weeks.
yeah,
So that was weird.
yeah. And I mean, every like that's what I mean, right? Every single experience is so completely different.
Yeah.
Um, he just probably would have stayed in forever. And I also very lucky, very grateful. My first pregnancy experience was amazing. I don't think I would have had more if my second or third was like this one, but or like the first was like the other ones or whatever. But amazing experience. I was a little bit nauseous in the first trimester. Like I would have to roll the window down when I was driving. I would get a little bit nauseous that way. I remember heartburn was really, really awful
Yeah.
near the end.
I had that at the end.
Yeah, and like no huge cravings. I have like a corn intolerance, so I remember craving like popcorn and Doritos, and I always tell him I'm like Cinnabon and ketchup chips were like my go-to. Yeah, and yeah. So those were my things with him. Went in the morning of, Corey went to work, as I was saying in the first one, like he just didn't see the need to be there right away, I guess, from other friends who had babies. They were like, oh, you'll be there for hours before you actually give birth. And I mean,
Right.
I was being induced. So I didn't know, like, I've never had this happen before. So I don't know how long do I normally stay in labor for? How long does this process usually take or
Right.
whatever? So he did. He went to work and then I was kind of freaking out. And then I called and I was like, I need you here. Like, I don't want like as much as my mom was there, she brought me in and whatever else. I didn't have that relationship with my mom that I had with Corey. Like I needed him. He was my
Right.
person. I needed to feel good and safe. And also, our best friends at the time got married a couple days before I was giving birth. So I was due the day before they got married. I did the cha cha slide at their wedding and thought that my water was breaking and I had to run to the bathroom. But they were on like their honeymoon in Collingwood or Blue Mountain or something like that at the time. So I had called her and I was like, hey, like, if you're making your way down this way, it would be great because I could really use you here right now. And
Right.
he was like, we're on our way. We're like stuck in traffic, but we're gonna make it there. Whatever, we'll make sure that we're there. And they like stopped their plans to like come and be there for us, which was huge.
I love
Um,
that.
not friends with them anymore. So it's sad that way. But also she was like a huge part of like me having kids and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so Corey got there in time. And it was one of those things where like he was sitting around waiting for so long. I don't think he really knew what to do with himself. And he had left to go and get like chips or something to eat or whatever. And when he came back in is when they were checking me for to see how dilated I was, which was
Right.
wonderful. And so he
Such a
walked
vibe.
in. Yeah, he walked in and he was like, oh my God.
Oh God,
Yeah.
this is
So
real.
yeah, and it was very much like the first one was very much like, stay up here. He's like I want to say that I'm a bit tougher when it comes to things like like a I have a stronger stomach a little bit. I can handle things like taking blood and needles and stuff like that where he cannot at all.
Okay.
Um I'm a
I'm
better
thinking right now of like Rachel and Ross being like, I need you. I need you to stay by my head. That's all I can picture right
over
now.
here. Yeah, pretty much. And he did. He was good up here. Um yeah, and like I
Yeah,
have a
you don't
better
want him
like
passing out.
yeah, I have like a better pain tolerance and stuff like that. So like with him, I'm just like, I know him well enough that he should not be down here hanging out.
Right.
Right. So he was like there's like a chair in the corner here. He was kind of over here almost the whole time. It was like at the point where I would have contractions and stuff where I'm like, okay, like I need to go to the bathroom. And this is going to be a TMI for sure, but I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. So he was like helping me kind of walk. I'd have a contraction. We were good. I went to the bathroom and like the pressure when you're about to have a baby, like I had to poop. So
Yeah.
I literally was sitting there. I did what I needed to do. And the nurse came in and was like so annoyed with me. She was so mad at me because I had to poop because she's like, you can't do that right now.
Really?
You
But I
cannot.
had to.
It just came out.
She
But I
was
think they were
funneling it out.
worried. They were worried that the baby was gonna like fall out into the toilet or like maybe it's a bacterial thing. I
Oh,
don't
yeah, it could
know.
be.
Like so
But
anyways, it was just yeah, it was weird. But I think it was after they had broken my water too. So
mm,
it was like the gushing of everything. I wanted it all out. Like it just
yeah.
yeah. So that was a lot. And then I remember they had us like walk around the hospital a couple times to get things flowing. I think I had the IV with Pitocin
Right. Yeah,
to
you
get
would have
things
had
flowing
to.
that way. Yeah. And then once the contractions were a little bit stronger, then with my first one, I did get an epidural. And the older gentleman that came into the hospital, he was in and out in 5 minutes. He did such a good job. I barely felt anything, kind of thing, right? It was like wonderful. Um, and I mean, that's like the majority of like what I can still remember from what happened. Like I know I was only in labor for like 4 hours. I had a good experience that way. I only pushed like 3 or 4 times, maybe for like 10 minutes or whatever. Like it wasn't terrible. And he came out and I remember like having the gown, that beautiful,
Mm,
lovely gown on.
mm, mhm.
And I vaguely remember, but like I remember them putting him on me on the gown, and I was like, he's slimy, he's
Yeah.
like full of stuff because I didn't really know what to expect that way. And um he was born with like a skin tag, right? And the skin tag that where the placement was of it, they scared me first and gave me answers after. So it
Mhm.
was like on his spine, but like on the outside or whatever. But they were like, "Oh, we have to do an ultrasound because it could be like spina bifida." And I was like, "What the fuck?
Like,
Why tell me that?"
that's
Just
terrifying.
scan it first. And then they were like, "It's fine. It's just a skin tag. It'll fall off." And I was like, Great. Start with that next time, please.
Yeah. There's a
So
chance this is just a skin tag, but we're just gonna do a test. That's
just
all they
yeah,
needed to say.
that's
That's
all they
it.
needed to say. And
Oh,
then after I had him, like so Corey was told by one of his dad's wonderful friends that, hey, buddy, make sure that you cut the cord because it's the only way that you separate that kid from its mother. Yep. So
wow.
he made sure he was like, I'm cutting that
I'm doing
cord.
it.
It didn't work though, because like,
Yeah.
me and my kids are
No.
still.
And especially I feel like boys and
Yeah.
their moms
Oh
are
yeah.
like a thing. So
Yeah. And he's a
sorry. All these
cancer.
exactly all these dads want boys, and it's
Yeah.
like, bro, no.
Yeah. No. It's mine.
It's
Yeah. So like it was a weird experience again, like yeah, small hospital. The nurses were there. I was really determined to like breastfeed, and they came in, they were like, "Yep, he's latched really good. You guys are unnatural, whatever else. No problem." Um it was a big problem. I guess he like latched the first couple of times, and then after that we struggled. We struggled so
right.
hard with breastfeeding. And then also in previous podcasts we've talked about like the experience of the beginning stages of having that baby at home, the newborn baby, and all the things that I was going through mentally and dealing with people all around all the time. It was like I thought it was just easier. I'm like, I breastfed for a little bit, but then everybody always had an opinion on, everything that I was doing. So I would like bottle feed when we'd go places.
Right.
Then he had like wicked eczema as a baby, and then all these things that like that pointed towards allergies and stuff. And it was like whatever's in my breast milk is not good for him. I was using different formulas that were no good for him. Then we switched to like soy formula, which is so gross.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, disgusting. So it was like so many different things along that journey with him. And then turns out, eventually we found out he does have a peanut allergy. He does, does struggle with other things like that. But it was like in the moment when you're having all these things happen, you're like, so the
Yeah.
breastfeeding thing was hard. I wish that I would have like advocated for us a little bit more to try to get him like to a clinic and latched and whatever. But
I think that was one thing, like, because we left the hospital so early,
mhm,
like before that 24 hours kind of happened, I really didn't get that support at all. I will literally tell everyone, Instagram taught me how to breastfeed. Instagram taught me how to latch him,
mhm,
all the things, because I was in pain. And I remember posting on Instagram being like, who the fuck is doing this? Because this is so painful. Like, I am dying. Send help, please.
mhm,
And I remember, I even think that you were one of the ones, like, because I put up a question box just being like, assist, please. Like, how do I make this less painful? And I had so many women come at me being like, it shouldn't be that painful. Like, there's something wrong. Like, your latch isn't right or stuff like that. So I took that advice and started looking up like how to actually latch him properly. And my little man was so small that I had to do like the football hold on
oh,
him. Yeah, like put him like by my side here. And once I learned like that there was different ways to hold him to breastfeed, like that really helped as well. But I think that not having that support and like I could talk about not having support after having a baby until the cows come home because I really feel like they're just like, "Oh, that's great. You had a baby and
mhm,
you're out." And even my mom, I remember her being like, man, when I had you, I was at the hospital for like 2 weeks. They bathed you for the first time. They showed me how to do all the things, like just everything. Like
mhm.
it's just such a different experience having a baby in the 80s
Yes.
than it is to now, right? And
And
yes,
also,
part of the COVID sitch, but
yeah, I was gonna say also your experience is completely different from like what I went through because of the time that you had your baby in.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
with him, like they gave him his first bath. They showed us how to do that, like in the little sink thing, and how to wipe him down properly. And um they like yeah, the latching thing, like I just kind of gave up too early on it as well in my own mind looking back on it. But they were trying to keep me for like we did the 24 hours, which I struggle with hospitals. Like I'm getting better at telling myself that I'm okay with hospitals now as I get older, but like when I was younger, it was always in my head. I hate hospitals. I don't want to be here. Like I I would do anything to get out of the hospital. So I remember after like the 24 hours was up, they still wanted to keep me another, they just kept saying, we're just going to keep you a little bit longer, keep you a little bit longer, and they wanted to keep me overnight again. And I was like, I'm leaving, I don't want to be here anymore. And they were like, well, you need to like sign off on something basically stating that you are refusing care. And I was like,
Really?
okay. Yeah, I as from what I can remember, I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Right.
I don't know if I signed anything or not, or if I actually like just had to say like I refuse care, let me out of here, because
Hmm.
I just wanted to get home with my baby. So anyways, I think I ended up sleeping there the second night, and then Corey went home the second night and like came back and picked us up or whatever, let us check out. Um yeah, there was a lot of I think the feeding stuff was hard and whatever too, right? So anyways, we ended up leaving, that was fine, and then we adjusted. The second time I went in, so for my first daughter, my middle child, I was, yes, went in for the stretch and sweep twice. And I remember my mom was in Florida and had called me. I think it was on her, not her birthday. She was there for her birthday, but she ended up calling me the day of and was like, hey, like, how'd everything go? I'm like, yep, it was good. I'm pretty sure I'm having a baby today, but who knows, right? After my stretch and sweep, I went to Walmart and I was like filling up the cart, pushing it around for like 2 to 3 hours, just walking through, putting everything that I needed in it. It was like super heavy, super full. And I was just like walking, trying to like walk that baby out, kind of, right? And
Right.
making sure that I was stocked up because it was like winter, end of November, winter time or whatever. And I really think that that Walmart shop really got me into labor because throughout the evening I would have like these little jolts, these little sharp little tingles, whatever, and didn't really think much of it. And I remember Corey was in the living room. He's playing Xbox on like an Xbox party with his pals from like the States or whatever. And he's just like going hard playing these games. And I'm just pacing our little living room area, dining room area, just pacing back and forth, counting my contractions. And I was like, remember, I'm somebody who's very like independent in the fact that like I got my shit myself. I can do this myself. I don't
Right.
need you, whatever, right? In that mindset at the time, because I felt like a lot of the times I had to remind myself that I love him and I love him here, but I don't need him here if he doesn't want to be here, kind of thing.
Right.
And then so I was pacing and I was timing it. And I was like, okay, I was told that if you have a shower and the contractions stop, then you're not really in labor and it's fine. So I was like, again, talking myself, right? Talking yourself out of it. And I went into the shower, and in the shower, I was still getting contractions. And I was like, okay, and I did like what they call, I think it's like a perineal massage or whatever. Like I did like the stretch myself. I'm like, I don't want to rip. I don't want them cutting me. I'm just
Yeah.
doing the massage myself with my firstborn. They pulled out olive oil in the hospital, and we were like doing the massage to get me to stretch out at that point. So that
Really?
was weird. Mm-hmm. So then, yeah, with the second one, I was like in the shower, do it myself. Contractions were still happening. So when I got out of the shower, I called my girlfriend who was like closing up the restaurant where she worked, and she's like, "All right, I'm just leaving here. It's really snowy, so I'll be there as soon as I can." Coming from like Angus,
Right.
so she got there, picked me up. I like kind of looked at Corey. I was like, I'm gonna head over. I'm gonna leave my bag here. I will let you know. We'll call you and let you know if I need the bag or not, whatever. Um, but yeah, so she drove me there, and I remember on the way there, she's trying to like hold a conversation, trying to get me to laugh and whatever. And I just remember like every so often the contraction would hit, and I was like, okay, this has got to be it. And I went into the hospital, and they were like, yeah, you're like whatever it is that they admit you at 5 or 6 centimeters.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
so
that was one of my biggest fears, I think, was getting to the hospital and them sending me home. And I
yeah.
think that was kind of where my denial came from, was like, I mean, I want to labor as long as I can here so that I am like ready to go when I arrive. That I remember like that in my head because I'm like, I don't want to be sent home. I don't,
No.
because I was also having my baby half an hour from where I live. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. And I had a girlfriend, same thing, right? She kept going to the hospital, and she would like go in
Yeah.
for labor, and then they would send her home and she'd be so mad and so upset, and she's like, what the fuck do they keep sending me home for? Just keep me, like, these are contractions, right? But they
Yeah.
were Braxton Hicks, and I'm glad I never really experienced Braxton Hicks.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, so we went in. It was like they said, yep, you're good. So Corey called his mom. She came and watched the baby at the time. She watched him for a bit. um well, he was at the hospital with me and my girlfriend. So him and my girlfriend were there while I was just like going through the things. And I remember, so this is where it kind of gets a little scary and hard. So if you've made it to this point and you're like, this seems okay, stop listening now. So, so I remember whenever they were talking about the epidural, my mother lost her mother during birth. So when my grandmother gave birth to my mother, she passed.
Ugh.
So I have this generational trauma in my brain about this fear of giving birth. And when they were going to give me the epidural, I remember them putting the pamphlet on me and saying, you need to read over this and agree to the epidural. I don't remember it with the first one. I'm sure they did it and I just signed off, no
Right.
problem. And the second time around, when they gave it to me, the first thing that I saw was that you could die, but there's a small percentage. And that was something in my brain that I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was manifesting something unintentionally, because sometimes you can manifest negative things if you're unintentionally focusing on that part. And I remember looking at it, kind of like pushing it away and whatever. So um it was like 2:30 in the morning, and they had to call in the anesthesiologist. The first time I had it, it was this nice older, like lovely Asian male that came in. He was so good, so quick, amazing. The second time around, I had a lady that came in. She did not want to be there. She looked miserable as fuck. And I think it was just like all of the things in my brain that were stirring up continued with her. So when she came in, um, she was like, okay, started doing the thing. And I remember I kept going like, ow, ow, ow. And I didn't remember that with the first one. And then she was like, okay, like, what's going on? And I said, well, I can feel it scraping my spine. And she was like, okay, well, I'm almost done. Just hang on, hang on. And I kept going, ow, ow, ow. Like I could feel it. And that's not normal.
Right.
So I got to a point where like it was taking a really long time. Corey was probably going to pass out because he's not good with anything to do with that stuff. So him and my girlfriend had stepped out. I believe even she was like, okay, this is taking forever. Like, I'm just going to step out for a minute. And she came back. It took them 45 minutes to administer my epidural. And I remember holding the pillow. So they give you a pillow to hold and you have to, like, keel over. And that way they can see everything perfectly lined up in your spine. And I don't know what happened or why it took her so long. Maybe, same thing. She was tired. It was middle of the night, whatever else. No excuses. This is what you literally are supposed to do in life.
Right.
Um, but anyways, it took so long. And I don't know if as she was leaving, Corey and my girlfriend came back into the room. And as they came back into the room, they're standing over by the window on the one side. I'm laying in the bed and they're like, okay, epidural's good. Like, go ahead and just relax now. And I remember just being like so tired. And I was like, I knew that I had to speak because I already was terrified in my body as to what the fuck was happening. Why was I this tired? And I said, I'm like, I'm really sleepy. And then the nurse was like, that's okay. Like, rest before you start pushing. Everything's gonna kick in. Just go ahead and like lay back and relax or whatever. And I was like, I'm blacking out. And as I was blacking out, my girlfriend was a nurse. Thank God that she was there because she looked at my screen and she screams, she's bottoming out. Like, she's bottoming out. Her numbers are dropping. So I guess my heart rate was dropping really, really fast. And then I guess her and Corey were like, I don't know what she was doing after that point because I guess as she said that, my eyes closed. Like, they went to go and hand me like a thing to throw up in or something like that. And then I guess after that, they were like, nope, oxygen instead. Um,
I literally have chills in my body right now.
yeah, I don't remember what happened after she had let them know, but I'm just forever grateful that she was there because I don't know that I would be here if she wasn't there. So I remember when I opened my eyes again, like I didn't want to open my eyes and I kind of like peeked open and I just seen Corey just fucking, he's lost it.
Oh, he's
And
done.
he was like, don't ever fucking do that again. Right.
Oh,
I just remember he was just like, yeah. And her and she was there also crying and I didn't understand really. And then as they were explaining it to me, I was like, okay. But anyways, I don't know how long it was like that for or how long I was out for, but whenever I came back to, probably not long after that, they were like, okay, like you have to get ready to push. Are you okay to start pushing kind of thing? And I was like, yep. Um, she came out fairly quick. And I remember it was like, I don't know if she's my kid that's just like heaven sent. She's so good. Um she's so intentional with everything that she does in this life. And I'm like, I feel like she was like the angel put into me at that point and was like put on me. And I remember with her, I didn't really have labor plans. Like I just kind of went in and like as I learned things, I knew that I wanted them. So with her, I was very much like, I want skin to skin. That was something that was very important for me with her. Um, and they did that as soon as she came out. They put her on me, and I don't know if they did it immediately or not. I can't really remember that part, but I just remember her laying with me for a while, and then same thing. Like breastfeeding was easier with her. Everything just seemed to like go really smoothly with her. I remember um, my brother had dropped by and dropped off like those Merci chocolates. And because they don't feed you, especially like in the middle of the night, they're not bringing you meals. I
right.
remember waking up in the middle of the night, just like eating a bunch of chocolate, just because I'm like I'm exhausted from this journey,
Yeah.
and nobody's giving me food yet. Like so hungry. And I also woke up in the middle of the night to somebody screaming, "Fuck me!" Like get this child out of me. I was like, she didn't get the epidural,
She did
and
not.
that was
Bless her.
forever ingrained in my brain. That was Crystal in the next room. But it was forever ingrained in my head that like, oh god, I remember that what that was like. And then I also remember waking up and finding out that Paul Walker had passed away.
Oh,
So that was like there was a couple of things from that and I Paul Walker was my favorite.
cue the soundtrack, you
Uh,
know? Oh, there you
anyways,
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there was just a couple of things that were like very, very memorable and sad all amongst the whole
Right.
situation, right?
Oh,
Um,
my
so
heart.
you would think after that I'm like never having kids
Done.
again, right?
Mm.
But that
Hmm.
wasn't the case.
Hmm.
I still felt like I had one more little
Yeah.
spirit waiting to come down and hang out. And me and Corey together made the decision that I wasn't getting an epidural the next time.
Right.
We had made
I
a
mean,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Because I knew that I wanted one more and it was something that like when you get that feeling of like I want a baby, there's nothing that can stop your mindset of I'm having another I want another one. Like and I feel for people so much who struggle with fertility because I know what it's like when you get that feeling of I want and I need this in my life and there's something so special about it.
That's gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry. But
No, that's okay. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
do. You feel for them.
yeah,
I feel for them, you know?
yeah,
I was someone who never really knew if I wanted kids.
yeah.
So for me to yeah, now I'm like, I couldn't imagine not.
Right.
And yeah, we do want more.
Yeah.
I always said I was one and done,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's something that you realize that once that little seed is planted, like metaphorically,
Yes.
like you want that baby.
Yeah.
When people are like, just stop thinking about it and it'll happen. It's like, how do you stop thinking about that? You don't. You
Yeah.
think about it every single day.
All the
If that's
time.
something you want. It's every day. It's
Mhm.
and it's like when you're shopping for a car, you see it
It's
everywhere. You
everywhere.
start to see that car everywhere. It's
Yeah.
the same when you want a baby. Those pregnant people come out of the woodwork, man. Like
Yeah.
they're all over you. So I can't imagine how hard that is for the people who really struggle. And it
Yeah.
does make me sad because most of those people are so deserving. And it's just
Yeah.
like, why?
I know. And
Universe.
you're making promises of everything. Like I remember I was like, I promise I'll, stop eating this food or I'll stop doing this, or you just make so many promises to yourself about what you'll do
Right.
better or whatever, right? So it is
Absolutely.
hard. And with the girls, like with my son, it was, it was surprise and it was lovely and whatever else. And
Same with Charlie. Or, yeah.
yeah. And then with the girls, it was like I remember just a couple of months, which I'm grateful that it didn't take as long, but like a couple months of like doing the ovulation kits, and every single time the ovulation kit came up, it was like, okay, let's do this. And like I couldn't imagine doing that. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that for as long as like there are people out there that have been doing it for years and years and years. And it is very hard. So with the youngest one, it was one of those things where like I knew that I wanted another one. I knew that I was meant to have a third. So she was there. She was there waiting.
Right.
And eventually, when we did get pregnant, it was the big conversation about I'm terrified of labor. And the whole process of getting to labor was scary because I knew that I didn't want an epidural. And before I had her, I knew that I didn't want any other drugs either. Like I know some people will do Demerol or morphine, and that's their story and that's their journey. But for me, I didn't ever want morphine. I didn't ever want Demerol. It was either epidural or nothing.
Right.
So with her, I went into it. And like I had a hard journey with her also. I don't know if I just always had small babies, but with her for some reason, I wasn't really gaining weight. I remember I think we came for a shoot with you. Like I didn't look as far along as I should have been, right?
Right.
Um, which was hard because like when you're pregnant, you never want to hear, oh, you look like you're having twins, or but you also don't want to hear like, oh, you don't really look pregnant, but also you're kind of like, it's flattering, but it's not, like it's one of those things where you're
Right.
like, I look good, but also the baby was really small and I was going to Sunnybrook every week, just like getting extra scans and all these extra things happening. And I just think that I carry small babies. I think that I
Yeah.
just didn't realize until the last one how much attention I should have been giving myself and my body during that time.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I was going to deliver at Sunnybrook, and then I ended up just delivering at my local hospital because of the fact that like it was my third, it was going to go fast. I was able to deliver vaginally. The only reason they sent me to Sunnybrook in the first place is because on my anatomy scan they found like these giant blood clots. So I was worried. I'm like, am I going to bleed out if I deliver vaginally? Like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? Um, they weren't super concerned about that part. Eventually, they just kind of like dispersed on their own throughout the time, but they just were
Yeah.
monitoring it, right? And I guess because I went in for the scan, then they were like, she's really small. They were saying like her head was growing, say at 2 weeks ahead of her body and her arms and legs. And I was like, she's going to come out looking crazy. Like, what do you mean? But obviously not crazy, but like you think of it so differently. Like 2 weeks sounds like such a huge difference. And she came out,
Right.
she's like this perfect tiny little bean, right?
Yeah.
But with her, I did not have any medication. I went into it getting induced also, but they were like, I feel like they were like timing things at like 3:30 exactly. They were like, okay, we're gonna come in, break her water. She's gonna go fast, so be careful, get ready to catch. Like it was all this stuff. And I remember some things were hard because I was in labor, not medicated, in a lot of pain. They gave me the ball. I hated the ball, but I was like sitting on that for a while. And I remember I was in my gown and Corey's mom came in and she had taken a picture, but I don't think she took a picture of me. But in the moment, I thought that she was taking a picture of me. And she's like, no, I'm just taking a picture of dad to send to like his sister. And I was like, like I'm just like panicking. The labor part was easy breezy. I mean, for the pain part, I do vividly remember the pain because I hadn't experienced that before, and I was
Right.
I was hulking the bed rails, and Corey's like, I thought you were ripping them off. I'm like, I did too. And then I remembered the girl from my second experience screaming, and I was like, that was me. The
Yeah.
third time around,
I
I
just
was like,
someone.
yeah, it was a lot. It was very painful for sure. It's not an easy thing to do, especially without the medication. So I'm very much like, yeah, don't be here. If you want to take the epidural, but also you don't have to take the epidural. You can do it without
Yeah.
the epidural 100%. It does make life easier afterwards. Your healing is easier. I didn't get stitched or anything like that the third time around. my everything was great. Like I remember coming out of the hospital, going home, and I'm like carrying the baby, carrying the diaper bag, and my neighbor looks at Corey and she's like, "You gonna help?" He's like, "She's got it. Look at her. Like she's fine." And
It's fine.
I'm
Everything-
like, "Yeah," but like you can do all of the things a lot faster. I feel like if you don't do all that, the hardest part for me, bless his soul, is Corey's dad was there immediately after I gave birth in the room, took a picture, posted it on Facebook, and I was like, um, I get that he's really excited, but like I didn't even post my pregnancy on Facebook. My third one, it was like a secret. The only people that knew that I was pregnant were the people in my life because I was going through a thing where like if you want to be in my life, be in my life,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to post all of my stuff out there for other people to know. And yeah, I didn't post about my pregnancy or anything like that. And then it was like it was the first picture to go up, and it's funny because I remember like looking and I was like, okay, who liked it? Is anybody that I know? Like, do I need to post about it?
Right.
And our mayor at the time, it was like an angry emoji reaction, and I was like, that's so rude. But I think it was like he's an old guy and it slipped and whatever. And I was like, it's just such a it was such a weird thing that
That
like
is
lit up
really
in
weird.
my brain. But it was
Yeah.
like she was on the scale,
Hmm.
umbilical cord thing hanging out with just a diaper on, like, and if I can still go and find that picture now, and it triggers me a little bit because it was such a private thing, and
Yeah,
like it was hard in the moment,
for sure.
and I had to just take the step back and be like, okay, I love you, I'm
That's
okay.
what it is.
Never had the conversation, never brought it up, so if he ever listens to this, it would be like what the fuck do you mean, right? Like
Right, but I think sometimes people don't think about it the same way that we do. And but yeah, I'd be
it
pissed.
was hard. It was hard because it
Yeah,
was such a private thing that I kept private for so long. And I just, and then I was like, then I had to make my post on Facebook, like, cat's out of the bag, you know,
right. Yeah, and it's just
but
like it's like a weird post now
it was
because
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. I think yeah, the small baby thing is a thing too. I mean, I definitely didn't deliver a 10 pounder
Mm-hmm.
au naturel. Um, my little guy was only 6'15".
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because I was 4'15" when I was born. So
Oh.
he was exactly 2 pounds
Oh.
heavier than I was. So, and I was full term too. I was just
I was
tiny.
gonna say, were you preemie?
I was just
Yeah.
so
Corey
they were
same. Corey
actually
was like 5 pounds full term. Yeah.
yeah, they were actually very concerned. With my size, I actually had ended up having to have a stress test. I remember after my last ultrasound or yeah, ultrasound or OB appointment or whatever, because he was measuring small. And I was like, my mom's biggest baby was like, I think, I think Sierra was like 6 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So like, hello, like we just make small babies.
Small
Bless.
baby.
Thank you for
Yeah.
those genes. Like I
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
take it. But like, yeah, we're just like tiny. So they were all concerned. And then I remember that scaring me because I'm like, oh my God, like what if something's wrong? And like,
Mm-hmm.
what if I have to be induced? Because I really didn't want to be induced. I didn't
Yeah.
want, because again, I wanted to try and do everything just super unmedicated, which meant I didn't want Pitocin either. I didn't
Right.
want to sweep. I denied all that stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't come to that. It did. She did mention a sweep a couple of times, but I was like, ah, we'll just kind of see. Like I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like brushed her off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why she brushed me off too when I asked weird questions, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
My first was 613, my and like 4 hours of labor. The next one was 613, again, like maybe 3-ish hours of labor. And then the last one, she was 2 weeks early. I had her on my 38-week appointment or whatever. And she was 513 or 5'9", and um 2 hours from induction to delivery was 2 hours. And it's funny because without the medication, you feel everything and you feel the fire and whatever. And it was like as soon as that moment hit where I was like, oh, I'm pushing. And then they're like, no, 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 don't push. You can't not. So it was like, no, 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 I it's my body's pushing.
yeah,
And then they were like, okay, just 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. And then they're like, okay, you can push. First push out. Like first
yeah,
actual push out. And I was
right,
like, that was incredible. That's what they were
yeah,
like. And at many, many times throughout that, I was like, okay, but what if I was to get the epidural? And Corey's like, you are okay. You don't need it. You got this.
You
He's
can
like,
do
I
it.
know it sucks. I know it hurts, but like you'll regret it if you do. Like, do not
Yeah,
get it at this point. And I was like, and the lady's like, it'll be here quickly. Like he's just around the corner if you do want it, whatever else. She goes, I support if you don't want it, but if you do, it's right there. And I
right.
was like, I just kind of looked at him and I was like, you're right. It won't kill me. I got this. Like,
We're
and we were
gonna do
good.
it. Do it.
All right. So let's get into our rapid fire questions for our labor stories. Okay. Birth plan, essential or overrated?
I think it's essential to know what to expect. So, or maybe even having no expectations.
Right.
Like making a plan for things to go great and
Mm-hmm.
things to go maybe not the way you planned. Because if I was someone who went into labor thinking, fuck yeah, getting the epidural, it's happening, that's my only plan. Um, no, because the anesthesiologist said, nah, girl, you ain't getting it.
Right.
So I would have been fucked. Like I
Yeah.
would have been in trouble. That would have put me into panic. That would have put me into like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Instead, I went into it being like, yeah, I might get the epidural if I'm like, I can't handle it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I didn't go in being like, I'm absolutely not getting it because I didn't know. I'd
Yeah.
never experienced labor before. So having a plan, but maybe also having a backup plan, probably a good way to go, especially as a first time mom.
Right. And it would have been cool to have somebody on here also talking about C-sections because that's an
Yeah,
avenue that neither of us had to endure. And I feel like that's a whole other like experience
absolutely.
in itself, right? Especially when you do go with a certain kind of birth plan and then things take a
Yeah,
turn where
and
you
I've
have to do
I've had a
C-section.
girlfriend have an emergency C-section and then followed with a planned
Mm-hmm.
C-section. So kind of nice to see the differences between those as well because, planned is a heck of a lot better than an emergency, right? So,
Right.
yeah, definitely some different perspectives there that we really could
Mm-hmm.
touch on.
Yeah. And for me, I think birth plan, I didn't really have a birth plan. I knew that I didn't want certain drugs for sure. And then going for the last one, I didn't want any at all. And also I meant to say with the last one, skin to skin again was like huge, huge, huge for me. I am a huge advocate for skin to skin. If you can do it, please, please do it.
Yep. And if you
And they
can't, let your husband do it.
yes, absolutely. So when they had to put her on me, I'm pretty sure that they let us lay there for like an hour
Yeah.
without anything. And like I said, like my father-in-law came pretty quickly, so I was generally naked underneath a half of a sheet and had the baby on me, and I was like very much vulnerable and exposed, and I could give a fuck less now how people see me and what my body looks like and stuff like that because I've been so exposed in so many
Right.
ways at this point
Yeah.
now. Um, and then okay, did you have a doula or I can't
So
remember what
I
the other one
only
is.
had OB. I only
OB.
had
Okay. Yeah.
OB. I
Same.
didn't have
Same.
midwives
Midwives.
or a doula. If and when we ever do it again, I would 1000% go that route.
Mhm.
It was kind of just one of those things I said right from the beginning. I wanted a midwife, and everyone was like, "Ooh, like if you didn't contact them, weeks ago, then you're never going to get a spot." And when you're pregnant, when you find out you're pregnant, you have all these appointments. You have to make all these appointments. You have to call around all these places. I was calling multiple places to try and book an ultrasound. Like everything was just so crazy and busy at that time that I just felt like I'm just going to do an OB because that just seems to be the easiest route. And so I just kind of stuck with that. If I could go back, would I have midwives? 100%. I think I would just go a different route. I mean, I've done the OB thing. I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
I'm going to see how that
Yeah.
goes. Um, so yeah, I definitely had an OB, but again, like I kind of said in talking about my birth, like I asked a lot of questions that I guarantee she wasn't expecting me to ask. A lot of the times I don't think she really knew how to answer them. or she answered them in like kind of like a, and you won't need to know this kind of thing.
Mm.
Um, anyways, I
It
follow a
being your
lot.
body and everything, eh?
Yeah, so weird, right? I follow a lot of people in the States, which labor is a little bit different over there. You really have to advocate for yourself because they get paid a lot more money when there's a C-section.
Mhm.
So their C-section rates are through the roof. They're worse than ours, and ours are high. So I did a lot of research and tried to figure out what questions I should be asking, and I think that because I so strongly wanted unmedicated, I asked questions that don't get asked. But I was also older too. I was a 35-year-old. So at that point, you're like
Is that the
geriatric
geriatric? Oh God,
pregnancy.
I fucking hate that.
They
It's
don't
so
call it
silly.
that anymore. I forgot what they call it now,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so it was just I was happy I was able to advocate for myself and really get into that side of it. But I definitely know that my OB was like, "Ugh, this chick again." Yeah.
How dare she ask things that she needs to know about?
Right. And like it's my body. And
Yeah.
you show up there. Like when I had to do that weird test where you like swipe your butt with the Q-tip thing. I don't
Yeah.
even know. I was like, what is this? And she was like, oh, you just like everybody does it. And I'm like, cool. Not the answer I was looking for. I want to know why I'm doing this. And I think that we're so conditioned almost in thinking that this nurse or this doctor or this OB knows exactly what I need and what I should do,
Yeah.
that no one asks questions. So they answer when you do ask questions generically because they don't even know what to say. And I was like, no, no, I need a little bit more information here. Like, why are we doing this? What is this for? All of those things. So, anyways,
I completely forgot about the butt swipe.
yeah, that's a fun time. The drink is also just chef's kiss. Mine was warm, so I didn't have the orange drink. I had the clear
Oh.
drink. It was warm, and I was like, "Do you guys not have a fridge here?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, I guess we could put it in the fridge." And I'm like, "I am literally choking this down. If I were to ever get pregnant again and have to do that test, if it isn't cold, I'm leaving because like I'm not drinking that shit warm again." Or I'll bring my own ice. I don't
Why
know
was
what.
it clear?
Um, so they have two. Most of the time now they just use the clear one because so many people were like, I don't want the dyes, I don't want the
Oh, okay,
whatever.
okay.
So they have switched it. Um, and yeah, that's a lot of people in the States like deny it. They don't even do it. But
Hmm.
I think it is important because obviously if you do have gestational diabetes, like that
Yes.
can cause so many problems. So I feel like it's one of those like crunchy mom things that people are like, oh, I denied that. I didn't do it. And it's like, yeah, but like who are we actually hurting here? Just drink the damn drink. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I remember doing that. I remember doing it with my last one. They had me do the 2 hours right off the hop because of everything that was going on. And I
Mm,
remember like first hour through, they do a little check-in. Are you okay? They do more blood work and whatever. And
yeah,
I was like, I feel like now I'm gonna pass out because I know I have to sit here for a whole another hour. And
right.
I did not have gestational diabetes, so I don't know what the heck was going on. But
Yeah.
um yeah, music, silence, or TV during your labor.
I think I would have enjoyed having music. I
Yeah.
did have a playlist. I had it made, but honestly, all of the things that I had like planned to do just didn't really happen. I think I was more of like
Focusing on labor.
silent in the hospital, yeah, focusing on what I was doing. Although during laboring at home, like I was watching Friends. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe TV.
Did that kind of like help take your mind off of it
Yeah,
or not? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
no, it really did. It really did.
Aw, I love that. Okay. Yeah. For me, I would say silence, like not even the people around me talking. I just
Yeah.
needed to just be in my own mind. And I feel like I'm more spiritual now. And I wonder if that was with me during that time, if I would have been able and breath work and all the wonderful things that I know now,
Right.
if that would have helped me through that last labor for sure. Most surprising part of contractions for you?
I think the back labor for me. Like I didn't feel any contractions in the front. It was only in my back. think that's where I was like kind of in denial for that first little bit because I was like, are these contractions like this doesn't seem right because it's only happening in my lower back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was probably the strangest thing.
Yeah, my mom and my mother-in-law, I believe, both have said that they had back labor. So I was like, okay, then we're doing this, right? Like I thought it was a genetic thing, and
Yeah.
I don't think I had back labor.
Yeah, you know what? Also, like I remember in between contractions, like when I was like in transition, like when we were like almost at the end there, I remember every time I would have a contraction, I would be so hot. Like
Mm.
get any blanket, anything off of me, like don't touch me. Like I remember I did have Dave putting like ice on my back. I was 1,000 degrees. The minute that contraction stopped, I was freezing. It
Hmm.
was such a weird, like, and I mean like freezing. Like I'd be like shaking. Like I'm so cold. It's the coldest that's ever been in this room. Like what's happening? And then the minute a contraction would come, I would be like, oh my God, I'm on fire. Like it was the weirdest thing. Dave was probably like, what is do I ice her? Do I put a blanket on her? What am I doing here? So
It'll be great during menopause for you then.
yeah, hopefully, if that's what menopause is like, my God. Oh, Lord. Because
And
yeah,
it's funny because when you do the IV, the Pitocin, and all that stuff, you're freezing the entire time. Like it's like a cold drip going through your body. So you're
right.
freezing cold. I just like, and I was thinking when I was telling my story down here, I'm shaking because I'm in the basement and it's freezing cold. And I'm like, this is like what it was like in the hospital room. I was shaking, freezing cold. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the first thing that you ate after you delivered?
Mm. Subway,
That's so funny.
baby.
Well, I
Oh
guess, yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
I might, so because we weren't allowed in the hall, we
Mm.
weren't allowed anywhere. I actually had my mom go and get us Subway. She dropped it off at the front door of the hospital. A nurse had to bring it to our room and then we ate it and it was literally the most joyous moment ever. I Subway was like a big craving for me. I only ate it like a couple of times during my pregnancy because you're not really supposed to have lunch meat, blah blah blah, whatever. I don't know if that's facts or what. I did ask the doctor and I remember my doctor is very like factual, to the point.
Mm-hmm.
If it's mentioned that you shouldn't do something, he's not a just a little bit. He is like a no, shouldn't do that. Right. So I remember asking him being like super defeated, like, damn it, I just really want Subway.
Yeah.
Like I just, like,
I was told if you rinse your cold cuts, you could eat them
whoa, I'll be rinsing all the meat next time.
because it's a bacteria on it,
It
right?
is.
Is the
It's like
concern.
listeria or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like I just think that pregnant people
rinsing.
are susceptible or whatever to
Yeah,
it. So
yeah,
I don't know, whatever. I feel like just a little bit
yeah.
is more
Enough. Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So my third, what Subway was my thing also.
Amazing. Love that for you.
The second one was those Merci chocolates.
Yeah. Okay.
And for my first, I went in with all of these allergies on my chart because when they first asked you, like, are you allergic to anything? I was like, yep, I'm allergic to a whole long list of everything. So on my chart, it said like no eggs, no meat, no corn, no, like there was just like a whole citric
They brought
acid.
you water?
So they literally brought me, oh my God. I don't remember what it was even. Corey probably remembers, but it was like disgusting. Like there was a tray of bacon and eggs and toast because after I always heard like after you give birth is the best breakfast ever. And I was so excited. And he went out there, he's like, I can smell the bacon and eggs on your tray. Like it smells so good. And they brought my breakfast and it was probably like a little thing of like yogurt and a piece of probably bread or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And a tea bag,
Pitiful.
right? The good old
Oh,
mauve colored tea plastic teacups with the red rose. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, so they gave me that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Corey's like, "Your allergy chart was so big that you didn't get the bacon and eggs," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Cool. Can we go home now?"
Yeah. Can you make me breakfast, please? Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's
But the
so funny.
Subway, the foot long was so good because I was able to eat as much as I could with the new baby and then go back for more after and I was like satisfied forever.
Oh my God. My mouth is like filled with saliva. It's so good.
Were you emotional or did you cry whenever you had the baby? Like whenever you first got him on you?
Um, I don't so much remember me being emotional. I remember smiling a lot. Like I was super happy. Like it was just like the best. It was just such a great experience, honestly. Like I feel like I felt more relief because it was
Mhm.
over. It literally had taken, 2.5 hours to push him out. I think I was in labor for like altogether probably like 17 hours from
Oh
that
gosh.
first contraction to me giving birth to him. So yeah, I think that it's just like, yeah, I was just more just like, it's that euphoria
Yeah.
feeling, like, and I don't know that happens for everyone because sometimes like the drugs kind of change that for you, but like
Mhm.
I just felt like I just had the best workout of my life. Like the endorphins were so high, like just you're on just like a different level. You're honestly on just like a different level. It's
Yeah.
like that's the closest thing to heaven you can feel. I
Hmm.
feel like.
I agree. And I feel like it was just like a big release.
Hmm.
Like there was like relief, but also like just this giant release of like, whew, you just
Yeah.
got through it and you never have to worry about
Yeah.
that. And
I'm a
all the
mommy
things.
now. A mamacita.
Mamacita. Absolutely. Yeah. It was definitely, yeah, a beautiful thing. I pretty sure I cried. I don't know if every time or not, but like I think it was like emotional. I remember tears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The most surprising for me was that Corey cried with the last one. Um, and that's how I knew they just had this special connection. But
Yeah.
he's like, it was just, he always tells me there was just something different about the third that he was like, he tells people all the time. He's like, it's the only one that I cried for. And like he's open, and that's huge for him to like be open about emotions because he had that tough man mentality, which I try to get away from. But
Right. I feel
yeah, he
like we
tells people all the
both
time.
did cry. I feel
Yeah.
like we both did cry. But
Yeah.
that's not something that like sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
But weeks after, definitely like, whoo, those
Yeah.
pregnancy hormones are something.
Yeah. But right away, I think it's just like that emotional release of,
Yeah.
wow, they're finally here and we did this and
Yeah.
look at us. We're doing
Doing
great.
it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I just remember it was just like such a big deal for Corey that he would always feel like, she was the only one that I cried for. And he's like watching you go through everything that you went through. Yeah, but like
Every
mainly with the
time.
last one because the first one it was like it wasn't so painful. I don't remember feeling any of the pain. I feel like
Right.
I looked snatched right after, whatever the fuck that means. But I felt
Right.
like I was younger and it felt good getting back into my body then. Um, Second time he definitely cried, but that was more about the worry of whether or not I was going to wake up or not.
Yeah.
So then for the third
Absolutely.
one, it was like, okay, we did it. We're here. You're okay. She's okay. Like it was
Everything's
just so many
good.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love that.
One word you'd use to describe meeting your baby. I think you said it, like heaven. It's just like
Yeah.
euphoric and
It's
yeah.
it's such an out of body experience. It really like it's just the craziest thing. Like you made this.
Yeah. And you can't describe it to other people because unless you've experienced what it is, which grateful to have experienced this,
Yes.
right? Like um unless you've experienced it, you don't understand. And like people say like, "Oh, your life is about to change." You don't understand that either until it literally happens and you don't know the switch of who I was this morning to who I am this afternoon now
Right.
because everything has changed.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is.
Um Placenta. Did you ever think about capsulating your placenta and eating it?
No. I'm not that crunchy, I don't think. No,
Yeah,
I don't think I ever really I feel like years ago when before I had ever had babies, my cousin asked me to come and video her giving birth. And I remember being like, oh, I don't know, like maybe. And I remember her being like a little bit offended that I didn't want to like come and do it. And I'm like, girl, like I would like to have babies myself one day. I
right,
don't
right, right.
want to traumatize myself.
Yeah.
I went and did it. And I just remember like her placenta being like in this
The
fucking,
bin.
I don't know, the bin.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, no. And like, it wasn't like at that time, it wasn't like, oh my God, ew, like get this away. It was just kind of like there. And then when I did get pregnant and started like hearing that people do this and like watching Kim K talk about how she's gonna do all this shit with her placenta, I was like, no, I don't think so. I mean, do I think it's spectacular that we create this organ and deliver it as well? Like, it's so crazy that it's like this whole separate organ that we literally just like make. Like, we can't grow a new kidney, but we can grow a fucking placenta that's
Right,
gonna
right.
support your baby and feed your baby and all of these things. Like, it's mind-boggling. But no, I think once the placenta's out, it's kind of like it's done. It's
Yeah. Yeah. I never had any want, desire, any such sort to have that back into my body. But Corey all the time would joke now. He's like, if we were to do this again, he's like, I'm keeping the fucking placenta and like we're gonna dry it out, make
cream
beef
it.
jerky. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, beef jerky. Oh
No.
God.
No, but like he I think he Facebooks a little too much, but he gets all these videos probably about how the antibodies are so good and like
Yes. I
he yeah.
I would do, I think I would do like delayed cord clamping the next time.
Oh, okay, okay.
So which kind of like keeps the blood flow so that your baby's getting all of that nutrients before they actually clamp it and cut it.
Okay. See that I don't know enough about either. I have
Yeah.
heard of this, but not
Yes.
enough
So
knowledge
I've
on
I've
it.
looked into it a little bit. I haven't researched it that much. I think my main thing when I had my son was I just wanted a safe delivery. I wanted it to be great. I wanted to be all those things that I always envisioned. I wanted it to be unmedicated. That there were certain things that I also wanted, but I was like, oh, I'm asking for too much.
Hmm.
Like, I didn't want to labor on my back, but I did because they said, okay, we're gonna push and this is what you're gonna do. Um,
As much
and
as you had boundaries, you still
yeah, so
let
I
things
there were
go that you
still
wish you
things I
didn't.
really wanted, but I think there was just things where I didn't want to like push it too much. Like I just didn't, I just wanted things to go well and they were going well, so I think I just kind of didn't push those boundaries because realistically I should have said, "Nah, like I don't really want to push that way. What other options do I have?"
Right.
And seeing where that kind of went. And in hindsight, looking back, maybe I wouldn't have pushed for 2.5 hours if I wasn't in the worst possible position to push in.
Yeah.
Amen. That's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
I'm actually I'm actually
Perfect.
curious now to think about like how other people deliver. Like I've heard of like the squat and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but like
On your knees.
okay, okay.
There's definitely a few. I won't get into it, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do you remember the first thing you said after having the baby?
what is it?
Oh, okay. Because you were like,
Yeah.
I need to know. See,
I
I
need to
knew,
know what it is right now.
yeah. I knew for all of them. Um, yeah, I feel like if I did it again at this point, I would not, but
Right.
who knows? And then biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is about to deliver and has stuck through to the end of the episode.
Yeah. I think the biggest piece of advice is to just know what you want. Know what you want, know how to advocate for yourself, do your research, and yeah, just being prepared as you can for all these possibilities because A, no birth is ever the same, and B, there's a lot of things that can happen. Yeah, there's things that are scary that can happen. Don't dwell on those things. Um, but just know that people have literally been having babies for years and years and years, and we are literally made to do this. We
Yeah,
can do it. You can do it.
I love that.
That's the best advice I got. You can do
I
it.
think that's perfect advice. That is great advice. And then would you do it all over again? Like the same experience that you had, obviously you would change things or whatever, but like, right?
If I was promised the exact same pregnancy, labor, and delivery, I would do it again. Yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely. 100 times over. 100
Wonderful.
times over.
And on that note, we are going to end this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every journey is completely different. And we want you to know that even though we have shared our stories, the good, the bad, the scary, um, that that doesn't mean that you'll have a negative experience. Like, try to focus in on the good things that are happening during this time.
Positive thoughts.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.